The posture of your wrist and your fingers is very important because it'll do a lot of things. It'll make you play better, it'll make it sound better, it'll make it easier, you won't get as tired, and you won't have pain. If you do it wrong and develop some bad habits like bending your wrist in a funny way, you are going to get a lot of soreness in your wrist and you're not going to want to play anymore. But if you do it properly, you don't feel any pain. It feels great. You will get a little sore on your fingertips at first because you're pressing down on these strings. And on a nylon string instrument like this, it doesn't really hurt. It just, you feel it, but it's not painful. On a steel string guitar, it hurts, and you get blisters and you bleed and all that stuff. On ukulele, normally you don't do that. You might get blisters, but it depends on which kind of strings you use. I should tell you about strings. Hang on a second. But if you press down properly, you'll get little calluses here on the tips of your fingers. And if you stop playing for a month, the calluses will go away. You have to build them up again. And when you build up the calluses, it's a lot easier to play. It's a huge difference because you can press down, it doesn't hurt. You can press down harder, you get a much cleaner sound. Back to strings for a moment. You can change the strings on your ukulele. I talked a little bit about a high G and low G, but I mean an entirely different brand of strings. When you buy an inexpensive instrument, they usually have inexpensive strings. They're very tense. They're not clear see-through white. They're an opaque white, and they're really tense and they hurt your fingers. I always take them off, almost always. Once in a while, if I want a certain sound that sounds very bright and sharp and kind of harsh, which I like sometimes, I'll leave those on. But I recommend you change the strings, and you can buy a lot of different types of strings. I really have to tell you about Worth strings, Worth Brown, because Worth is the company and they make the best strings by far. I use them on every instrument. They're softer, they're easier to play, and they last longer, and they're a little more expensive, but it's worth it. They don't cost that much. They're just strings. They don't cost a fortune. And when you buy them, you get a double-length set. So even though they cost more, you're getting 2 sets in each package. So actually, I guess it costs about the same. But get the brown. Worth Brown and Worth Clear are different. Clear is kind of hard and tense. And the brown ones are what I'm using here, what I use on almost all of my instruments. I've used them for many years. And they're soft and comfortable, and they sound fantastic, and I love them. Worth Brown. So it's not really that one is better. It's just that one of them is my favorite, but you might have a different favorite. But I will tell you for sure that if you have strings that feel tense and they're white and solid opaque, if you switch to Worth Brown, you're going to have a lot better time playing. They won't be as loud. They will be a little bit softer, but it's worth it to me because your fingers will love you. Back to wrist posture. Try and keep your wrist straight like that. Try not to bend it like that. You're going to have to bend it a little bit, but if you move your shoulder, your elbow, and different things, maybe lean down a little bit, try and keep it straight like that as much as you can, like that. See, I'm bent a little bit, but I'm not like this. If I was like this, like if I'm slouching or sitting on a couch, sometimes I do sit on the couch and play, and it hurts my wrist. So don't do that. Try and keep it as straight as possible. You can even tape a popsicle stick over here. I've done that with my students before. Tape a popsicle stick right there, and it'll be really hard to play like that, but it'll reinforce the idea. And then you have them play like that for a little bit, and then take it off because you can't really play with it perfectly straight. There has to be some bend in it. But it's a good little trick.